Welcome to week 4, Writing in College. Please take the time to read this week's learning outcomes. Writing in College. Please pause the video and take the time to read through this slide. It talks about what students are familiar with when it comes to writing in high school. However, writing in college is different because you'll be writing about different topics for different purposes. Also, you'll need to learn to develop and organize your ideas organically, and we'll talk about that more. So go ahead and pause the video and go ahead and read this slide. And don't forget to take notes. Please pause the video and take the time to read through this slide. It talks about writing assignments. You'll have different instructors in college who will ask you to write different types of essays. The first step towards success in college writing is to always get clarifications about your assignments directly from your instructor. Sometimes you have to respond to specific questions. However, many times you have to come up with your own topic. You'll be required to summarize for summary assignments. You'll be required to write about specific topics for defined topic assignments. And you'll need to find a topic of your choice for undefined topic assignments. Please pause the video to read through this slide and make sure that you take some notes. Please pause the video and take the time to read through this slide. Summary assignments are common. Instructors would want you to summarize what you just read. To write an effective summary, you'll need to reflect your accurate understanding of a source's purpose, distinguish the main and minor ideas, identify key phrases so that you can quote them, and effectively paraphrase various statements. You'll need to capture the tone, the style, and the distinguishing features of a source. Summary assignments should not reflect your personal opinion about the source. Please pause the video and take the time to read through this slide. This slide talks about how to respond to writing assignments that have defined topics. We call these assignment prompts or question prompts. Watch out for what the instructor requires you to do by looking out for the verbs like compare and contrast, explain, justify, reflect, or analyze. Please pause the video and take the time to read through this slide. When it comes to undefined topics, you will need to focus on what it is that interests you, not what is the easiest topic to write about. Write what intrigues you, what you want to learn more about. Write what you're passionate about. Please pause the video and take the time to read through this slide. In this slide, we will talk about organically structured essays. First, there's the 5-paragraph theme, which has a broad introduction and narrows down to the thesis. There's the magic number here, 3. Usually, you'll be asked to write 3 reasons why a statement is true, and then you write a paragraph for each 3 reasons. The final paragraph or conclusion will restate the thesis. Pause this video to read through the slide and learn more about organically structured essays. Please pause the video and take the time to read through this slide. Here is an overview of rhetorical styles. Just as there are different genres in reading, in nonfiction writing, there are also sub-genres, or what we call rhetorical styles, modes, or patterns of communications. These are categories of types of writing, and they help us to anticipate the structure and purpose of the text. Please pause the video and take the time to read through this slide. This slide talks about the types of writing, which are expository, persuasive, narrative, and descriptive. Go ahead and pause the video to learn more how each type of writing is distinct and think about what an author's purpose is when writing each of these styles. Please pause the video and take the time to read through this slide. This slide talks about rhetorical styles such as argumentative or persuasive, cause and effect, comparison, illustration, and narration. Please pause the video to read through these rhetorical styles, carefully taking notes about their differences. Please pause the video and take the time to read through this slide. This slide talks about argumentation, and it's not the argument or argumentation that humans who disagree with each other have. It is not a shouting or fist fight. It is taking a stance on something an author believes in and gathering evidence from research to support this stance. Please pause the video and take the time to read through this slide. This slide talks about compare and contrast writing, which is talking about the differences and similarities of two or more ideas, concepts, etc. As we converse with our friends, co-workers, families, or neighbors, we find ourselves comparing one product to another, one show to another, etc. Hence, to write an assignment that requires you to compare and contrast is second nature. However, you'll need to always support your statements with evidence from research. Please pause the video and take the time to read through this slide. This slide talks about cause and effects essay. There are different cause and effect essays, so you'll need to read through this slide and take some notes. We observe cause and effects almost daily in our lives. What is the effect of missing an important appointment? Or what is the effect of forgetting to bring your keys? Sometimes there are different causes for one effect, or sometimes there is only one cause that has multiple effects. In life, we also face causal chain, wherein there are series of causes and effects. Please pause the video and take the time to read through this slide. This slide talks about illustration. An illustration essay is sometimes called an example essay because you'll need to use examples to make a point. Just remember that your examples must truly support your essay, must be strong and relevant and appropriate. Narration. Please take the time to read through this slide, the learning outcomes from narration. Please pause the video and take the time to read through this slide. This slide talks about a narrative essay, which is a common essay written in elementary, middle, and high school. It's basically telling a story. Most likely, you will be asked to write a narrative essay in college. Please pause your video as you read through this slide about narrative essays. Please pause the video and take the time to read through this slide. This slide talks about a narrative essay. Specifically, it has a checklist, which includes having a clear purpose for writing this essay and telling your story clearly and chronologically. Please pause the video and take the time to read through this slide. This slide talks about how to write a personal narrative essay. Take some time to brainstorm ideas for this essay. Use vivid details, an action voice, a passive voice. Use a dialogue and be consistent, especially with the use of verbs. Please pause the video and take the time to read through this slide. This slide talks about descriptive essays. This essay will prompt you to describe a person, place, or thing, or an event. Use different sensory language that can help appeal to your readers. Multimodality. Please pause the video to read through this slide that talks about the learning outcomes for this lesson, multimodality. Please pause the video and take the time to read through the slide. This slide talks about multimodality. Multi means more than one, and mode refers to means of communication. So multimodality is different ways to communicate, which includes visual, linguistic, spatial, oral, and gestural. Please pause the video and take the time to read through this slide. This slide talks about relationship between modes and media. We have different ways of communicating these days. We have social media, email, phone, or text, etc. The relationship between modes and media is phenomenal. Please read through the slide and take some notes. Please pause the video and take the time to read through this slide. This slide talks about the 5 modes. Visual, wherein you see images and characters, and also different fonts, font sizes, font styles. Oral, as in audio, can be communicated through sound effects, music, and tone or voice. Gestural refers to the way movement is interpreted. Can you think of a gestural way of communicating? Think of the word gesture. Linguistic or alphabet refers to text or written or spoken words, and spatial refers to elements in space. Can you think about how we communicate with the elements of space? Please pause the video and take the time to read through this slide. This slide talks about multimodal writing, the different forms of writing and communicating with others. They include websites, blogs, photo essays, video blogs or video essays, portfolios, and many more. Please pause the video and take the time to read through this slide. This slide talks about presentations. Here are ways to preparing for a presentation. Please pause the video and take the time to read through this slide. This slide recaps or recaptures what was talked about throughout the entire video. Take some time to review the slides and take notes. This concludes week 4 presentation.